Hi there, everybody. This is Lee, and I'm talking about renewable energy versus the fossil fuel industry. Um, there's been recent information from the Netherlands that their trains are 100% powered by wind energy these days. That's amazing. So there are amazing advances in renewable energies in countries other than our own. And since we're exceptional, I'm wondering how that can possibly be that the Netherlands are making advances in wind energy that we have not been able to keep up with. We're trying. We've got industrial scale wind energy in the state of Iowa, in the state of Texas, definitely. We've got wind energy companies in Illinois. We've also got enormous, amazing wind energy power station off the coast of Rhode Island, kind of close to the Block Island that transmits and distributes wind generated energy to the mainland. So we do have some projects. We should have more, I'm thinking. And there's a specific reason why I'm saying that. The evidence is coming in from all around the world that amazing advances are possible. We have the human resources, we have the scientific knowledge, we have the manufacturing capacity here in the United States. We have the talent, we have the skill. What we do not have is the political will to make it happen. And I think that's because of our political systems, our government, specifically Congress, haven't been captured by the fossil fuel industry. The fossil fuel companies, as exhibited by Kelsey Warren of Energy Transfer Partners, has found that it is capable of taking over state government and giving orders to state government officials to terrorize the citizenry of these states into accepting pollution and poisoning and contamination of their environment. The corporations are attempting to take over our state government and thereby hold us back as a nation overall. So Texas and Iowa could likely be even further into the future, except that there are Republican governors that are kind of divided in their loyalty towards the corporations that run their states, and then also to the people that are supposed to run those states. So this is what we're seeing. The fact that we have the capability, we just don't have the will. And I'm going to go through an article I talked about the Dutch trains and the wind energy project off the coast of Rhode Island. There's many more projects like that. This is one. Solar power to rise from nuclear ashes. This is an article at Truthdig. It's written by Kieran and Cook of Climate News Network. It's dated January 12th. And so the author is apparently based in England or London. It's talking about the Chernobyl power plant in the Ukraine, and this is 1986 when Chernobyl had that nuclear accident that resulted in the death of 50 people, and then additional 4,000 fatalities as a result of exposure to radiation. They call that, well, they want to call that nuclear energy, clean energy, but 4,000 people died as a result. More than 4,000 died as a result of contamination by exposure to nuclear radiation. There was a 30-kilometer exclusion zone put in place around Chernobyl. But it's 30 years later, and a solar plant is rising in its place. So solar is rising from nuclear energy destruction. There's two companies from China that are planning to build a 1 gigawatt solar power plant on 2,500 hectares of land in the exclusion zone to the south of the Chernobyl plant. And so Ukraine says the companies estimate that they will spend up to $1 billion on the project over the next 2 years. And so it's a subsidiary of Golden Concord Holdings, and that's one of China's biggest renewable energy concerns. They will supply and install solar panels at the site, while a subsidiary of the state-owned China National Machinery Corporations will actually build and run the plant. So it's a public-private partnership that plans to put together about 1 billion dollars worth of resources to build this enormous solar power station on the ruins of Chernobyl. And they say that the land is cheap, of course. There's abundant sunlight. And so there is a foundation for the project, which is very creative. There's also going to be the benefit that there are already electrical transmission stations on site. They just need to adjust them to conduct this new type of energy. So they're retrofitting Chernobyl for solar, which is amazing. So there's a lot of interest in the possibilities here, the possibility of renewing the site, creating jobs, of course, also creating a green energy source, creating using that land to actually produce instead of letting it lay dusty and fallow. So this is amazing to me. And I'm thinking, well, if China can do this with Ukraine, actually build a solar station, a huge, enormous solar power station on the ruins of the nuclear disaster from 30 years ago, what is it that we cannot do ourselves? I ask that question because there's more pipeline issues going on in the United States. I'm looking at another article. It's from Truth Out this time. Activists document 144 pipeline accidents in 2016 in Louisiana alone. We're not talking about the United States as a whole. We're talking about within the state of Louisiana, within 1 year in one state, which is Louisiana, in 2016, there were 144 pipeline accidents. And so this is because the infrastructure in general in Louisiana is failing, it's crumbling. Louisiana sits below sea level, and so there are many issues with the infrastructure there. Even with just the dams and the levees, I observed, I think it was Spike Lee's movie, If the Creek Don't Rise, I believe, where they followed up on the levee system, and they compared the New Orleans levee system to that in the Netherlands, which is also very focused, as I said, on wind energy advances, technical advances. And the system that was put in place in the Netherlands to hold back the sea and the water, it looked like something out of Star Trek. And then he compared that to what was holding back the water in New Orleans, and it looked like a pile of dirt. So that tells you something. Nothing good. But there it is. And so there are opponents of the pipeline, a new pipeline. There's a public hearing on the proposed Bayou Bridge pipeline. There are opponents that just say we don't want another one. They cannot afford to bear the human and environmental costs of more fossil fuel infrastructure. But there's too many accidents. They point to the 144 pipeline accidents that have been reported to federal authorities in just 2016 alone. And that there's holes, corrosion, and a general lack of maintenance on the infrastructure. And so this is the Louisiana Bucket Brigade. It's an NGO watchdog of the petrochemical industry. inside the state of Louisiana. And so they're saying that there's fear of what a Trump administration will bring, because what they have now currently, the 144 accidents, has occurred underneath the Obama administration. They don't want it to get worse. And so they're saying that people keep, viewing regulation on the petrochemical industry and the fossil fuel industry, that the more regulation, the more jobs that will be killed. And they're saying that strict enforcement is not a job killer, that the flood-prone state of Louisiana can actually create employment opportunities by investing in renewable energy alternatives. They're saying that in the Gulf, there's sufficient wind to build wind farms, just like it was done in Rhode Island. So Rhode Island is a beacon to every other um, um, site within the United States in the struggle for pipeline building on coast, off coast. Rather than do that, they want wind energy farms, which are much safer. Definitely Louisiana has wind. There's definitely wind. As many hurricanes that rage through there, they could probably generate a lot of energy. And so this is what the watchdogs are saying. They're saying that they have the workforce that could have the capability of building the platform for the wind turbines. If they can build an oil platform in the Gulf, surely they can build a wind turbine platform in the Gulf. It's been done. It's been done off the coast of Rhode Island. Definitely, there's a strong manufacturing base in Louisiana. There's a strong energy, human resources capability in Louisiana. They know how to build, the workers there. So he's saying that there's not a point about cutting jobs. It's just switching the job market from one industry to another. So people are saying we can't, we won't. It's not possible, it's not possible, but it actually is possible. It's more, it's possible in the Ukraine with China. It's possible in the Netherlands. It's possible in Rhode Island. It's possible in Iowa. It's possible in Texas. Therefore, it is possible in Louisiana. It's just a matter of political will. And again, with the 2018 elections, you might have to just examine your slate of state-run machinery, political machinery, and see how closely tied they are to the fossil fuel industry, and then take steps to replace them. With various means of researching who your political leaders are, the people who are standing in your way, who are being obstructionists, who are actually not only trying to be job killers, but also environment killers, and then people killers, people who are being poisoned by the chemicals that are entering the water. So these are strides that people can take. You can research and see what's been done elsewhere. You can see what's holding your elected officials from moving forward, why they're still granting permits for more pipelines, even while the existing pipelines continue to break down at least 144 times just in the past year. It makes no sense at all. So you take steps and see what you can do. Good luck.